Hi, Olha. Let's take a look at this new set of essays. The first one is a CV. Okay, dear Sir Madam, I am writing in response to the job advert for Senior Digital Planner in Jobs Plus newspaper. Okay, this date. I believe I would be a suitable candidate due to my deep knowledge of Google AdWords, Google Analytics, and Facebook Business Manager. Moreover, I have an international certification in programmatic. Should it be an S on the end? Not really sure. Might be jargon. It might just be a mistake. So, okay. The reason why I want to obtain this particular position in your company is twofold. Firstly, I have heard a lot of positive feedback from people being your employees concerning career perspectives, extra benefits, and working conditions. Secondly, I am interested in implementing new advertising tools for solving the changes inherent in this position. All right. Okay, I see that you're trying to show your energy and enthusiasm, but I do want to fix some of the language up a little bit. All right. First of all, we try to avoid words like I want in a formal letter. So let's change it to something a little more formal sounding, something maybe along the lines of the reason that I was drawn to this particular position, or the reason I believe the reason that interested me in this position. So something like that would be better than the reason why I would like or the reason I want this position, okay? And then grammatically this was wrong. From people who are your employees, or even better, I have heard positive feedback from your employees concerning career prospects, not perspective, extra benefits, and working conditions. Okay, and the rest is fine. Let's go here now. I have been working as a digital planner in Starcom for 2 years. Therefore, I possess a lot of valuable experience in terms of working for the international market and launching advertising campaigns for large clients such as Visa, Samsung, etc., which might be beneficial to you. Please find my CV enclosed, and if you need any additional information, do not hesitate to ask. Feel free to contact me via email or at the phone number below. I look forward to hearing from you. Yours faithfully. Okay, it's fine. Let's see. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. Qualification. I mean, you covered all the bullets. You certainly went into some detail. Okay. You could have maybe gone into this a little bit more. If that was probably one area that I think you could have said a little bit more about. I mean, look at this, for example. You spent a considerable amount of time on the second bullet, but really far less on the third bullet, and even on the first bullet, if you really think about it. So you could have extended those a little more. It would certainly benefit you in order to get a higher score for task achievement, okay? If you develop them relevantly, obviously, but a little more in detail, a little more developed, okay? Let's take a look now at your task 2. Okay, this is the one about weddings. It looks like a lot of people have been having a hard time with this because they talk about the reasons for spending a lot of money and not the benefits. But let's see what you did here. Experts throughout the developing and developed world. No, that's not what you said. You said experts throughout both the developing and developed countries. Then you didn't have to say the. Okay, that's the reason why. I saw the and I thought it has to go with world. But with countries, which is plural, no. It should just be experts throughout both developing and developed countries have debated whether throwing an extensive wedding party is still beneficial or waste of money is what you want to say here. The word wedding party is not really correct. It should be wedding celebration, wedding reception, or just wedding is good too. And I don't think you mean extensive. I think you mean extravagant, luxurious, opulent, one of these words that implies spending a lot of money. This essay will discuss both sides, using examples from Oxford University and analyzing hypothetical implementations of this money to demonstrate points and prove arguments. Okay, but where is your answer to the question? It asks you quite specifically if the benefits outweigh the disadvantages. You haven't told me that. Okay, clearly you're going to talk about both the advantages and the disadvantages, but you should answer this particular question in your introduction. Okay? There is ample evidence that investing a decent sum of money into a wedding celebration may be beneficial for further life in marriage. This is largely because couples tend to remember the day of their wedding as the most valuable and memorable occasion. For example, recent empirical research by Oxford sociologists demonstrated that the people who had celebrated their weddings on a grand scale tended to divorce not twice less, half as much as those omitting this tradition. It must not be forgotten there will be a lot of photos and videos to show their descendants in the future and freshen the memory with these memorizing moments. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that there is a considerably strong case to be made in favor of spending money on a wedding celebration, such as building a strong foundation, not fundament, for further life together. All right, you did a good job of this. You framed all of this in a way so that it sounds like an advantage. So I liked it. If I were to come up with one problem that I see here, it's the fact that it's essentially one benefit. Let me see. Because remember what it says here. It says benefits. So they expect you to come up with more than one benefit. Reading this, it felt like you were talking about one, essentially. Maybe here you're talking about a second one. Let me think about it a little more. When I first read it, it did feel like you were just giving essentially one argument. But let me think about it to see if this could count as a second benefit. Okay? Maybe if you had mentioned again that we spend a lot of money on these photos and this helps, I don't know, maybe, I'm just not sure. It's a stretch, but okay, let's move on. Although there is a case for a massive celebration being unforgettable and significant for further lives of couples, there are also some possible drawbacks. The central reason for this is twofold. Firstly, not everyone can afford spending great sums of money on a wedding party. Therefore, people have to ask for bank loans, which must be paid back later. Secondly, young couples have to spend all money on their wedding instead of buying some property or organizing a honeymoon trip. For example, according to recent IMF studies, if the majority of people did not spend a great amount of money on their weddings, they would be able to buy their houses 5 years earlier on average. Consequently, it is possible to state beyond doubt that the largest drawback to having an expensive wedding is a financial burden. Okay, but remember, they didn't ask for just one, they asked for disadvantages, plural, so make sure you're framing it like that. Here it sounds like the disadvantages were that you have to ask for bank loans, and second of all, you spend the money on the wedding, whereas you could spend it on more appropriate and better things. So, okay, fair enough, that's fine. From the examples and arguments given, I firmly believe that although weddings are significant occasions in people's lives, the disadvantages in terms of organizing massive celebrations are greater. Therefore, it is predicted that people will reject this tradition in the future. All right, well done. I think I was pretty specific about some of the areas that were a little troublesome. It would probably be this area here that didn't really feel like it benefits, but rather just one benefit. It read well. There were a couple little grammatical things, but nothing really too serious. So on the whole, I would have to say it's a good job. Okay. Again, remember, you have to answer this question in the introduction. I will show you straight away why. Okay, so here we have the band descriptors for task 2. Obviously, it's the public version. But if you look at task achievement, take a look at 7 and look at the second bullet. It says presents a clear position throughout the response. So the key word here is really throughout. Throughout means from the beginning to the end. So how can you make your position clear from the beginning of your essay? Well, clearly by stating it in your introduction. That's about as beginning as it gets. So this is why I'm always really adamant about writing your position and answering whatever the question here is, answering it in your introduction. Okay? So that's one thing I want you to keep in mind. Whatever the question asks you, there are various ways to supply an answer depending on what the question is. So do try to do it in your introduction. Don't leave the examiner in suspense waiting to the conclusion to see what your your position is, okay? Go ahead and correct these essays, return them back corrected, and let's see your next set. Alrighty? Good luck.